Hi, I'm Starborn. Remember, to be a star, you have to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not be afraid of the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. Tonight's show is a show that, if you've been looking at our website, starborninstitute.org, you would know the title is Highs and Lows, or I could say ins and outs, or I could say ups and downs, because we're going to experience a lot of those things this year in 2020, because it's going to be a bit of a bumpy ride. And that is because there are so many planetary things going on. First of all, there are 6 eclipses in 2020. That always denotes change. And then 4 of those eclipses are lunar eclipses. And in our lunar eclipse, we often say one woman goes and another woman comes, because a lunar eclipse is a full moon, and the moon does rule women. And so women's issues can be heightened this year, and they can be going through change as well. And so we have a rare triple eclipse this year, and that is happening in the months of June and July, when 3 eclipses occur each 2 weeks apart. And in years when those things happen, it simply means there can be great social unrest and change throughout the whole world. So it's all right that we are going through a bit of a bumpy ride, or we can experience highs and lows, because everybody else is going to experience that as well. And so the planets are changing, and that can make a broad change for all of us. And 2 big things like that are happening, one in the spring and another in the last half of the year. The first change that we'll all be impacted by is that between the middle of March and the end of May, Mars and Saturn will go into Aquarius, the sign of the future, and Aquarius is a fixed sign, and those are 2 malefic planets, and they will then be squaring the 3rd malefic planet, Uranus, which is in Taurus, a fixed financial sign. And when these 3 planets in fixed signs, which often do not budge, begin to square each other, we certainly will be experiencing some highs and lows that could have something to do with financial affairs, since Taurus is a financial sign, and our future plans, since Aquarius rules the future. But because the sign of Aquarius, where Mars and Saturn will be, are opposing Leo, and Leo rules the heart, the back, and the blood supply, we can be looking at an increase this spring in heart attacks, or in back problems, or in diseases that are blood related in one way or another. And there is a possibility that there can be harm even to children and loved ones, since Leo also rules those. And that would be an absolutely terrible time to take a gamble on anything. It would not work at all. The second big planetary change can be from Mars, which by the end of June is going to go into Aries, a sign that it rules. Well, when a ruler is in their own sign, they can be very powerful. So you would think, since Aries rules new beginnings, that would be great for new starts. But they're going to have a rough time getting off the ground. There can be highs and lows, because Mars is in Aries so long, because as soon as it enters Aries, it will be squared by 3 very powerful planets in Capricorn that are backed up. They're trined by Uranus and Taurus, and they are Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto in Capricorn. So that dynamic energy of Aries is sort of going to run into a brick wall in the form of these 3 very strong planets, including the ruler Saturn in Capricorn. So 2 malefic planets that are rulers of their own signs are coming up against each other in the whole last half of the year. And that's why it's going to be a bumpy ride, and we're going to be seeing highs and lows. But in a physical sense, it also means, since Aries rules the head, that there can be an increase in strokes, or in aneurysms, or in just very severe headaches or head injuries coming to a lot of people. So you have to watch out for that too. All right, what does this idea of highs and lows mean to all 12 of the sun signs in 2020? Well, Aries, for you, I'm sorry to say that easy ride that you had last year, Aries, is over in 2020. And the reason it's over, or the reason you enjoyed it last year, is because Jupiter was in Sagittarius, a sign that it rules. It was very powerful there. And it was trining your sun, Aries, for almost all of last year. It didn't leave Sagittarius until December 3rd of 2019. So you were able to enjoy somewhat easier times or easier opportunities or more popularity and success last year. And that easy ride is what's over. And so it simply means that this spring, remember when those malefic planets are going to be squaring each other, some people can be running into financial problems this spring that they will have to address in one way or another. I don't think that's going to be you, Aries, because the planets in Aquarius sextile your sun, and Uranus in Taurus also sextiles your sun. So you may not be facing the financial challenges that other people will be doing, but as they decide to move on, you may decide the same thing. And this year you could be rather quiet about making some sort of a move, and you may be going at that just a little bit at a time and keeping your plans to yourself, but it certainly could materialize by the end of the year when there is a fabulous solar eclipse in Sagittarius trining your sun. Remember, solar eclipses denote new beginnings. So there is the possible that some rather quiet move that you're thinking of making this year will occur at least by the end of the year, if not before. You will run into bureaucratic paperwork and hang-ups or ups and downs or highs and lows during the whole last half of the year when Mars is in your sign being squared by Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto. So you need to, for everyone, when you come into a period of stress, you should slow down, not speed up. That's going to be hard to do because you're going to have Mars in your sign for 6 months. But I'm just whispering a little word of caution to you in advance, Aries. Anybody who speeds ahead too quickly or takes a gamble this year is making themselves a candidate for a very expensive mistake. So going slow is the way that you could achieve something pretty good by Christmas. Okay, what does it mean to a Taurus? Well, Taurus, 2020 is yours to lose, Taurus. In other words, success is practically guaranteed for you this year because there is so much support among the earth signs with planets that are trining each other throughout the whole year. So you really have backup this year, Taurus. And so that success can be practically guaranteed except in the spring. And that is because your sign is vulnerable, particularly financially in the spring, because Uranus in your sign, which is a planet of volatility and sudden change, and your sign is a financial sign ruling investments, is going to be squared from the middle of March to the end of May by Mars and Saturn in Aquarius, which rules the future. So there can be some surprising upset that actually threatens a cherished goal of yours, Taurus, in the spring. So once again, I'm suggesting that you slow down and don't take a gamble with anything, particularly in August, because you would lose in August. And that is because that August new moon in Leo is going to be squaring Uranus in your sun sign. So be sure and check everything twice before you go ahead. But just remember, you know, a success is almost guaranteed for you this year, Taurus, as long as you really keep your focus on what is your heart's desire and really try to work very hard toward that, because you could get it. You're just going to encounter highs and lows or a bumpy ride, particularly this spring, so slow down and be careful. Okay, what does it mean to a Gemini? Well, Gemini, congratulations. You get practically everything that you want by your birthday. And the reason why is because while others can be having problems with Mars and Saturn in Aquarius squaring Uranus in Taurus, I don't think you will, Gemini, because that Mars and Saturn in Aquarius trine your sun. You may get just about everything you want by your birthday because you're so busy. And you're absolutely going to be inundated with a lot of different things. You're going to have a lot of irons in the fire, Gemini, and your sign rules versatility and adaptability. I think you're going to be in your element. However, I must say that that's going to pertain to the spring. As the summer moves on and you move toward fall, you are going to encounter delay again and again and again regarding a new beginning that you want to make. And the reason why you'll be having a lot of delays is because of revisions. Whoever you're dealing with or you're making a deal with is going to want to have the terms revised again and again. However, even though September could be very challenging to you because the new moon in Virgo is going to square your sun, and October will be absolutely chaotic for you. However, you tend to benefit from the chaos that's going to happen in October. In some strange way, you'll benefit from that, Gemini. And then, by the holidays, you absolutely breeze to victory. You're going to do just fine. But you're going to have highs and lows this year, Gemini. But I think you're going to make it through. Just remember, you breeze to victory by the holidays. Hold that thought. Okay, what does it mean to a Cancer? Well, Cancer, your life changes this year for sure. And the reason why is, how could it not? There are 2 eclipses in your sign, and there's even a second new moon in your sign. And so I think this spring, as some people encounter problems, either financial problems or a change in their future plans, they may decide to move on, and you could be thinking about that as well, Cancer. And since your life is going to change this year, I think that the outcome of it will be a sense of relief for you. I think you'll feel very relieved when a change does occur. And it could be a move, because there's a solar eclipse in your sign in June, and there's a second new moon in your sign in July. So that is when, this summer is when you could possibly make a wonderful move, Cancer. And then later on in the year, perhaps closer to the holidays, a good investment for you pays off handsomely. Lucky you. Okay, what does it mean to a Leo? Well, Leo, after enduring either a betrayal or perhaps a serious health issue this spring, by the summertime, certainly by the new moon in August, which is in your sun sign, you decide to go for it, whatever it is. I just urge you not to take a gamble, but I don't think you're going to slow down too much by then, because that new moon in August is being trined by that aggressive Mars in Aries. There are going to be people that want to push you to go forward, Leo. I'm just saying that that is a good time instead for you to slow down and not take a gamble no matter what, because that Uranus and Taurus will be squaring your sun sign. Not too many people are going to win gambles this year, but particularly not in August. So you'd have to sort of quietly get through that and go slow if you can. And then I think that after August is over, you are going to be able to make some sort of really nice new beginning, or else you're going to be able to take a rather long distance trip by the holidays when there is a fantastic solar eclipse in Sagittarius, which does trine your sun. In the meantime, in the fall, you can be anticipating much higher costs, Leo. But the reason why you could be anticipating higher costs related to a new beginning is because it could be a new beginning that you are absolutely going to love. It's just that I hope you have an extra piggy bank around, because I think it's going to be real expensive too. Okay, what does it mean to a Virgo? Well, Virgo, since yours is an earth sign, it simply means that 2020 is yours to lose, meaning that success is guaranteed for you too, Virgo. And yet, I'm going to caution you to try to use a little bit more restraint than you usually do, and to keep your guard up this year, particularly until the fall, until your birthday. Keep your guard up. Virgos usually like to make sure that everything adds up before they make a decision or take a step. And that's what you should be extra cautious about this year. So keep that guard up, because that is a way for you to go through a bumpy ride, or to endure highs and lows or ups and downs and be able to cushion them. And so I'm not necessarily saying that bad things are going to happen, But they don't even have to happen to you or me. They could happen around us. They could happen to others or to our employers. And that is why, in order to cushion the shock of highs and lows that we're all going to be going through, you need to use extra caution and keep your guard up. Because success is just guaranteed for you, Virgo, by the fall, by your birthday. And that success will be based on merit. In other words, there will be a proven record of your accomplishments so that when the success comes, everyone will know you richly deserve it. At the same time, you're going to have to be very careful during the holidays, because during the holidays, both of the eclipses that occur will square your sun. So you're going to be challenged during the holidays, and that's another reason to just be cautious and keep your guard up if you can. Okay, what does it mean to a Libra? Oh, Libra. Oh boy. I hope that every single little thing that you've been putting off is done and accomplished by you by the middle of March. Because this spring, Libra, you are going to be so busy, you're not going to have time to catch up on anything. So to catch up now if you can. And the reason why you're not going to have time and you're going to be very, very busy is because between the middle of March and the end of May, Mars and Saturn in Aquarius are going to be trining your sun. A trine is a good aspect. It means a lot of energy is flowing unrestricted to you. And so that simply means you're going to be so busy that it will be a little bit as if you're feeling pulled in two different directions at the same time. And you know, that could be a little stressful, Libra, and that would be continuing for quite a while. In fact, for most of the year. And so my advice to you, Libra, is don't drop the ball. In other words, if you have a lot of stress from one thing you're doing and a lot of stress from another thing you're doing, still don't drop the ball. And that is because by Thanksgiving, everything is going to work out just fine. It's all going to fall into place. And maybe by Thanksgiving, that you're able to manage your time better in one thing so that you're only doing something part-time, and that applies to something else you're doing too, so that you don't feel so pulled apart. And actually, by the end of the year, you're able to make an easy transitional change. And that's why, if you don't drop the ball this year, even though you could be under stress and working pretty hard by spring, and that would continue, then by 2021, you're going to be very successful when Jupiter and Saturn come into your sign, or into Aquarius, and trine your sun for a whole year. So just don't drop the ball, Libra. You would be very sorry if you did that. So just keep going. Okay, what does it mean to a Scorpio? Well, Scorpio, this year, changes can look very promising, not only for you, but for your family members, because there's a lot of activity in the sign of Cancer and in Pisces, and they both trine your sun, which is great. And yet this spring, the spring itself is going to throw a curveball your way, Scorpio, and it is going to present a very upsetting challenge to you. Something that you were not expecting at all. That's why it's a real curveball. And that's because yours is a fixed sign. And when Mars and Saturn go into Aquarius, they'll square your sun sign, and Uranus in Taurus is already opposing your sun sign. But that's three malefic planets that are going to harshly aspect all of the fixed signs. So you're going to have to encounter that. It'll be a bumpy ride. There will be highs and lows. You'll just have to handle it, Scorpio. Your sign rules survival. You're going to do okay. And by the summer, things do calm down for you. And then I'm happy to say, by your birthday, Scorpio, you are looking at big money, real big money coming your way, which is wonderful. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Sagittarian? Well, Sagittarius, all year long, it might be, since Jupiter is no longer in your sign, that you can be feeling, you can have this vague feeling that there's something missing, or that there's something that you want, but it's sort of out of reach. And that could be true this year, Sagittarius. And yet, as you're going through life with having a bumpy ride and highs and lows like the rest of us, You may be able to see a clear path by Christmas because there is a fantastic solar eclipse in your sign on December 15th, which would denote a new beginning for you in 2021. But in the meantime, for 2020, it can be that the whole year is going to seem as if you have to take 2 steps back in order to take 1 step forward at a much later date. And rather than complain, rather than appeal, it might be, particularly by the summertime, that you understand some changes have to be made and they would require you to take 2 steps back. The sooner you do that, the sooner you're going to be over that. And you have to do that in order to take 1 big step forward at a later date. The more you delay the 2 steps, the longer it's going to take you to take that 1 step forward. Why should that be so important to you, Sagittarius? Because that 1 step is going to change your life. And even if you have to take 2 back in order to get there, you should do it as quickly as possible, because it will change your life and bring benefits to you for the rest of your life, and benefits to your loved ones and even to their loved ones. It's going to be big, but you got to do the 2 steps back first. And remember that solar eclipse is going to be in your sun sign by the end of the year. So have no fear, Sagittarius. It's just that sort of you have to do what you don't want to do first in order to get where you really want to go. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Well, Capricorn, this is a time when you're going to have a rock solid year, Capricorn. That's because there's so many good planets in your sign. And that started with the solar eclipse on December 26th, the day after Christmas in 2019, when there were 5 planets there. And for most of the year, there will be at least 3, Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto in your sign, continually backed up and supported by Uranus in Taurus. So that's why it's such a rock-solid year for you, Capricorn. Except during the summer, when there's a lunar eclipse in your sign, and there can be a change for you in the summertime or for a family member. And so that's fine. I mean, we all have to get through these things. This is a year, Capricorn, when you should make a hobby into a business, particularly by fall. And the reason why you should do that, so that you're really a business by fall, when your hobby becomes a business, is because by November, a very big deal awaits you, but you have to be ready for it. So keep that in mind. Okay, what does it mean to an Aquarian? Well, Aquarius, in the springtime, a heavy burden falls on your shoulders. And so I advise you to go slowly. In fact, the reason why you should go slowly is because if you move too quickly or you react to a situation, any kind of a situation, too fast, you could make a very expensive mistake, maybe more than one. And that is because this spring, when the heavy burden falls on your shoulders, Mars and Saturn will be in your sun sign, and they will be squaring Uranus in Taurus, which is a fixed financial sign. These are 3 malefic planets. They're all in fixed signs, which don't budge anyway, and they represent challenges. And so that's when you hit the bumpy ride, or that's when you have the highs and lows. But that is during that time. It's not throughout the whole year. But the heavy burden does fall on your shoulders this spring. I don't know what that heavy burden is, but it is going to hit you, Aquarius. It might be financial, because the financial sign of Taurus has got your sun sign ruler in it, Uranus, and that is what's squaring Mars and Saturn in your sign. So, you know, you're going to have to try real hard to get over that. The amazing thing is that by the fall, particularly in October, when there's absolute chaos going on, when there's mayhem everywhere, when people are simply out of control and nobody's agreeing on anything, all of that chaos is going to benefit you, Aquarius, in one way or another. And that's because the Libra new moon in October is so harshly aspected that it's going to stir everybody up. Nobody's going to agree on anything. But somehow that will benefit you because the Libra new moon's going to trine your sun. So just remember, better days are ahead. And also by Christmas, I'm happy to say, you are able to make a very easy transition when the lunar eclipse in Gemini by November 30th trines your sun. So the end of the year turns out very well and relaxing and easy for you. It's just this spring when a heavy burden will fall on your shoulders, Aquarius. And you are not alone. We're all with you. So just keep going. Okay, what does it mean to a Pisces? Well, Pisces, the small gestures that you make, or you've already been making this year and will continue to make, can result in big rewards for you by your birthday. Because by your birthday, there will be a new moon in your sign, Pisces, with 4 planets in it, and they will all be sextiled by 4 other planets in Capricorn, which is a real heavy-duty sign and extremely well aspected this year. And so that means, Pisces, that even the smallest gestures that you have been making are being noticed by pretty important people or people that really matter to you, and they can be backing you up and supporting you and rewarding you for that. In the summertime, particularly after the solar eclipse in Cancer, you will be home at last. And that either means that you're living somewhere that you really feel comfortable in, or what I think it is that your relationships are working out in a way that you feel more comfortable with. Or it can be that you're in a job or you've made some sort of final decision about something that brings you home at last to something that really makes you happy, which is good. Still, in the fall, the Virgo new moon in September is challenging your sun sign. It's opposing your sun sign, actually. So you may be facing some challenges at that time. But still, you're going to advance this year, Pisces, and by the holidays you may be facing some challenges, and that's because both of the eclipses by the holidays will square your sun. So we all are going to be facing these highs and lows and ups and downs, but I think that you're going to be enjoying some rewards coming your way as well. Okay, thanks so much for tuning in. Remember, you can see the show and on our website, starborninstitute.org. And I wish you the very happiest of New Year's. Bye.